I'm Dennis Johnston, Vic High class of 67 and a Vic High teacher from 1974 to 1980.
And I'm Jacob Flower from the Vic High class of 2016. It's our great pleasure to tell you about Tommy Mayne.
How you remember him depends on when you were at Vic High. In the 1930s, he was a little guy who appeared in some of Miss Cameron's plays. In the 1940s, he was part of the school's new wave of young teachers hired to cope with the post-war enrollment boom. In the 50s, he was undisputed king of the auditorium, where he directed many plays and musicals to great acclaim and overflow houses. In the 60s, he was a popular head of the social studies department, a punning scholar who also played patient dad to the sometimes naughty Calamity Players. In the 70s, he was one of the main forces behind the Vic High Centennial. In the Centennial show, he played Old Vic, the spirit of Vic High, who personified the traditions and pride of the school. No role could have suited him better.
Tommy was born in Victoria in 1918 and grew up in this house in Fairfield. He attended Sir James Douglas School, sometimes walking up Moss Street Hill to attend manual training classes at Boys Central School. Then he went on to Vic High, graduating in 1935. Teenage Tommy was good at school, well, except for Latin grammar, that is. He took 2 years at Victoria College, then housed in Craigdarroch Castle, followed by a year here at the Provincial Normal School, now the Lansdowne campus of Camosun College.
To qualify for his teaching certificate, Tommy went up country to teach in the tiny settlement of Savory, west of Prince George. At age 19, he was master of a one-room school with 8 students from grades 1 to 8. Next, he was sent to teach at White Lake, a Finnish farming community north of Salmon Arm.
Tommy knew he'd rather teach older kids, so he went back to UBC, where he studied English and history. He remembers trying out for the UBC Players Club at the old auditorium, auditioning for BC theatre legends Freddie Wood, a former Vic High student and teacher, and Dorothy Somerset. Like most young men during World War II, Tommy wanted to join Canada's armed forces, but he was rejected on medical grounds. His contribution to the war effort was to be in teaching. When he emerged from UBC with his BA, Tommy was hired at Trail Tatanack High School in Trail, a mining town that was booming due to the wartime industry. Starting teachers don't get their choice of assignments. Young Mr. Mayne found himself teaching mostly junior high science, and even one phys ed class.
But his father's health was a worry, and after 3 years in Trail, Tommy was able to land a job at good old Vic High. Longtime principal Harry Smith met him outside the staff room. "You won't get the best classes to start with," he admitted. Then came the good news. "Miss Cameron wants to give up her drama class. How would you like to take it on?" That was music to Tommy's ears. For his first major production, in 1947, he selected a recent play that was already a classic, Our Town by Thornton Wilder. Although it was a great success, Tommy never got to see the production. As opening night approached, his dad took ill and died, and Miss Cameron brought the play through dress rehearsals to closing night.
Many productions followed, including Lost Horizon, Pride and Prejudice, Meet Me in St. Louis, and Lust for Life. In the 1950s, with the emergence of strong choir and orchestra programs under Norma Douglas and Dorothy Evans, Tommy began producing and directing musicals too, including Rose of the Danube and The Song of Norway. In 1962, new principal Mr. Thompson offered Tommy another new opportunity, to be head of Vic High's Social Studies department. But they agreed that it would be too much for him to do that and also teach drama. So Tommy gave up his role as director, though he continued to sponsor Calamity Players, the school's popular skit club.
Tommy shared his love of theater with his wife, Betty, whom he married in 1955. Together, they were active in the Victoria Theatre Guild at Langham Court, where Tommy was honored with a life membership. After his retirement from teaching in 1978, Tommy remained an enthusiastic supporter of the arts in Victoria, including a stint as chair of the Community Arts Council, which also made him a life member. He was Victoria's town crier from 1990 to 2010. That role prompted Victoria AM to make him a life member as well, an occasion marked by the unveiling of this statue at Ogden Point. For 15 years, this former history teacher volunteered as a docent at Craigdarroch Castle and was made a life member of Victoria's Hallmark Society. In addition to freely donating his time, Tommy has also been generous with his money, making substantial donations to the Blue Bridge Theatre, Pacific Opera Victoria, the Royal BC Museum, and our own Alumni Association, as well as creating the Thomas and Betty Mayne Theatre Scholarship at UVic. In retirement, he has become one of our city's best-known philanthropists, an inspiring example to many. Today, you can find 97-year-old Tommy at Berwick House, still donning the town crier gear on special occasions. That is, if he's not out on a lunch date or visiting the Vic High Archives.
If there is one constant in Tommy's long and distinguished career, it is his unfailing sense of humor, which he gleefully shares with everyone around him. As a teacher, especially in his roles with the Drama Club and Calamity Players, Tommy's influence is evident in the many visits, cards, and letters received over the years from former students, many noting the life-changing impact of their Vic High drama days. Among the highlights of his career, Tommy cites 3 historical pageants performed at the Memorial Arena. The 1958 BC Centennial Show staged by 10 schools, for which he was Uber director, traveling from school to school to touch up each scene. The 1967 Canadian Centennial Show, in which he directed Vic High's contribution, a Roaring Twenties scene. And of course, the 1976 Vic High Centennial Show, for which he not only served as producer and co-writer, but also played the leading role. As Old Vic, the spirit of Vic High, Tommy also gave the school's graduation address the next year, the only teacher to have been thus honored while still on staff. Tommy says it was a special honor when, at a homecoming event in 2008, the Alumni Association unveiled a front-row auditorium seat dedicated to him.
From the class of 1935, a Vic High staff member for 33 of his 38 years as a teacher, we salute another great Vic High graduate, Old Vic himself, Tommy Mayne.